Welcome to Coach's Corner. It's our weekly chat with the coaches of Pohai Athletics, and your head coach of the Ponca City Wildcat football team, Coach Scott Harmon, is our guest on this edition of Coach's Corner. And Coach, nice trip to Muskogee. That's a long bus trip, isn't it?
It's a long ride for sure. It was just a great way to end the season with this senior class and the way we played and how hard we prepared all week long. It was just a fitting way to end the season, and especially with this senior bunch.
Yeah, 35 to 28. 35-28. That was the final score from Muskogee, and it was a big win. Of course, for your seniors, it really meant something special to go out with a win there.
It did. It was their 12th win, so they've averaged 12 or 4 wins a year since they've been a sophomore. To be honest with you, it probably would be five if it were it not for kind of some COVID issues. So, if you think about where we started when I got here 4 years ago, and now talk about a group that possibly averaged, four, could have been five without COVID
Right.
wins a year. I mean, that's just a drastic improvement, especially in 6A2 where it's extremely tough football these days.
It certainly is. When we talk about players that really stepped up in the Muskogee game, of course, he's been stepping up all season. Blake Bristow, you got to give him some major kudos.
Had just had a great night rushing the football, and we told him we would depend on him. We were going to kind of ride his back there. We had one fullback out with some illness, and we had another fullback that was gimped up. So man, we were kind of, we were a little concerned about it going into it. But Tabe Stanton really stepped up, and he kind of led the way behind the offensive line, and uh, uh, had 240 yards rushing on 41 carries, which is just kind of a yeoman's effort. And then Tay Moore was really efficient in the passing game and added about 70 yards on the ground as well. So we were close to 400 yards of offense, 35 points on the board, so couldn't be more pleased with that. And then, of course, defensively, they stopped some of the best skilled kids in the district and held them to 28 points. So I was real pleased with those guys too.
Yeah, other players on the team that really uh, pulled it out, really stepped up. Can we give some shout outs?
You bet. Aiden Krager probably had the best game of his career. He's a senior who can play like 4 or 5 different spots on the offensive side of the ball. Had 4 catches for 69 yards. Brett Haney had another great night. He had one TD catch on an excellent catch, and then was very good in the blocking game. And then 4 of our 5 offensive linemen are seniors, and they did a great job up front with us, along with Tabe Stanton. So it was just a very productive night. And then defensively. I believe it was Roland, Zimmershed, and Harmon who kind of led us in tackles. But you got to mention Nate Collins because they were triple teaming Nate all night long.
Yeah.
So that allowed Brett Haas and Raiden Agee to kind of get loose and do some things on the edge.
Yeah, for sure. Well, the Wildcats wind up the season 35-28 over Muskogee, and now we get into the off season. You have some of your athletes going to basketball or wrestling, and some will stay focused on football, and I'm guessing weight training in the off season.
We've got about 45 9 through 11 now. Since the seniors are gone, they move on and do some other things, get ready to to graduate. But we'll have about 40 to 42 kids in the off season program, still kind of trying to see what we want to do with that. We've got a little time here. We just kind of checked in gear yesterday and everything, so we're giving them a little time off, not too much time, because too much time, idle hands, gets you in trouble.
Right, right, right.
So we'll stay away from that and kind of get back to work as soon as possible. But our staff and strength and conditioning program is really good, and we'll do a good job preparing for our kids for next fall.
Yeah, well, there are some changes coming for our Wildcats next season, moving from 6A East to 6A West. The difference that makes in the schedule, what's it going to look like?
We'll play a lot more Oklahoma City area teams. We'll get away from the Booker T's, the Bigsby's, Muskogee's, and Choctaw will go with us. Stillwater's going back east, so kind of Choctaw and Stillwater swaps positions, and then we went west because Tahlequah was coming up from 5A. So it's kind of 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I feel like the middle third of the Western district won't be quite as tough as the Eastern, but the top 2 or 3 teams probably aren't as good as Bigsby, Choctaw, and Booker T either.
Yeah, well, coming up for the Wildcat football team, the football banquet, making plans for that, I'm sure.
Yes, our booster club does a terrific job celebrating our kids and kind of doing the things that it takes to be a successful 6A program. So our quarterback club will put that on. I believe it's on the 22nd or 23rd Tuesday. It'll be down at the theater, and we'll have the kids in kind of one last time as a group and honor, give some awards out, and talk good about them, and one last time before we send them on their way.
Yeah, very good. Well, we've certainly enjoyed keeping up with Coach Scott Harmon and our Ponca City Wildcats throughout the season. And Coach, thank you very much for being on the show, and we look forward to having you back in the spring.
You bet, man. We appreciate all you do for us.
We'll be talking about the new season. Of course, the Wildcats, you can follow the Wildcats always on 100.7 FM KPNC and the live video streams at punkcitynow.com/TV. And now that the football season is wrapped, look for those broadcasts for Wildcat basketball and wrestling. That's going to do it for this edition of Coach's Corner. Thank you for watching, and remember, Wildcats, hold that line.